Hey everybody, Roxabox90 here, back with some more Battle for Zendikar spoilers. We got some pretty interesting stuff to talk about today, not so much in terms of cards, but you'll see what I mean. Let's start off with the cards. Skitterskin is our first, 4/3 and a black for a 4/3 Eldrazi. Skitterskin can't block, 2 regenerated, activated only if you control another colorless creature. So this seems like an okay limited card, nothing particularly flashy, but it is uncommon because 4 for a 4/3 is not terrible, and then being able to regenerate in combat often will act as a pseudo form of removal / I don't want to block him because he could regenerate, and will probably act as a pretty good combat creature. The fact that it needs to have another colorless creature would technically be a drawback, but it seems like we have a lot of Eldrazi and or token producers, so that wouldn't be too much of a concern. Seems a solid limited card. Coastal Discovery is 4 for a sorcery, draw 2 cards with Awaken, 6 mana. So you get a 4/4 land and draw 2 cards for 6 mana. Seems okay. Nothing particularly great, but getting a 4/4 creature out of a land and then drawing 2 cards later in the game. Would you want this instead of a bomb? Well, it gives you the flexibility for draw 2 cards, which is pretty bad for a divination. So it's a question if that flexibility is worth it. I'm thinking not, but I could be wrong. Let me know what you guys think. For Tree Tamiria, 4 for an enchantment landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield in your control, you get to either get a 1/1 ally or creatures you control go 1/1. So the fact that it's 4 mana is a bit, it's kind of sad. Hits play and nothing really happens immediately, but if you do get it out, the fact that it makes consistent allies is pretty nice, and the fact that it gives you that aggressive push is really nice. It could act as a decent top-end curve, especially for aggressive decks where you're like, what do I need all my extra lands, turns 5, 6, 7, etc. And then this is an outlet for it. Could work that way, but otherwise, Breaker of Armies, pretty awesome name and pretty awesome art. 8 for a 10/8, all creatures have to block it, so the 10 power is nice here for 8 mana. It's going to be probably a solid limited, top end creature, but that's pretty much it where it's going to be. Brood Butcher is a rare multicolor Eldrazi, 3 a black and a green for a 3/3 devoid. When it enters the battlefield, you get 1/1 colorless sign creature that has, if you sacrifice it, add 1 to your mana pool. And then black and a green, sacrifice a creature, target creature gets -2/-2. So the idea behind here is that you can sacrifice your little 1/1s or whatever to act as a form of removal to win in combat. It allows you to sacrifice. It's a sack outlet against opponent's removal. There seems to be a bunch of ways to use this card. Probably the reason it's rare, even though it's multicolor, is because in limited, this kind of card can work very well. Otherwise, I don't really see where it would go. That's pretty much the place. Maybe an Eldrazi tribal deck. Limited's where it's at. Lantern Scout, 3 for a 3/2. I'm actually pretty excited about this guy. He's an ally that when it or another ally comes into play, creatures you control gain lifelink. So it's a 3 for a 3/2. Decent, good, aggressive ally. And then the fact that it gives lifelink to your whole team anytime you play an ally, that seems pretty sweet to me, to be quite honest, in an ally deck. I like it for limited, I like it for kitchen table, and I don't think it's there for constructed, but any kind of maybe ally EDH deck seems like a solid creature. And the last card we have for the day, Drowner of Hope, pretty awesome and epic, and actually, I'll show you where we got this card spoiled from shortly. 6 for a 5/5 devoid. Alright, solid limited right off the bat if there's no drawback. Whenever it enters the battlefield, you get 2 1/1s. Even better. Sack an Eldrazi Scion, tap target creature. This guy seems actually pretty good, particularly for limited, but I think it's really good even for more casually Eldrazi style decks. I really like its stats, I like its abilities, I like it produces creatures, and yeah, as we'll get to, it's one of the intro pack rares. I think this is one of the best ones. But anyway, before we get to that, we have Zendikar Expeditions for those who've been following the news, and the interesting thing that came out was that the second set, Oath of the Gatekeepers I think it's called, will have 20 of these super premium foil lands instead of the 25, which are yet unknown. So I don't quite know how it's going to work. For me, my gut speculation is, okay, well, if there are going to be 20 different lands, they may not be. If there are 20 different lands, then probably the other 5 duels that we don't currently have, the 5 man lands, 5 to 10 man lands, and then potentially filter lands. I know I keep pushing for those, but man, we could really use a reprint of those. But regardless, there'll be different lands. I think it's be pretty exciting to see what's going to go on with those. Then we have here the announcing of Oath of the Gatewatch, the second Rise of the Eldrazi set, and yeah, it's going to be in January as expected. The art looks pretty sick. We actually have 4 walkers over here. One of them looks like Chandra Nissa, Jace, and I don't know, new planeswalker maybe. This is over here. So who's this green one and who's this purplish one? I doubt it's Liliana. All right, we'll have to see what comes out of it, but the art looks pretty sweet. Then we have branded play. This is for the pre-release. If you come in, you'll be getting a Battle for Zendikar box. So this pretty cool looking cube tower thing is going to have your pre-release cards, and we'll have your 20-sided. It looks pretty sweet, just alternate packaging. And then we have the Battle for Zendikar packaging, where we have the different packs. We have this is probably some kind of demon thing, unless it's supposed to be Obnixilis, but I doubt it. Then we have, looks like Kiora. It doesn't have to be an actual Kiora. It could just be some kind of merfolk, but it does look very much like Kiora. Then we have some kind of creepy predator-esque Eldrazi. We have one of the allies, veteran war leader. That's the guy. Then we got Gideon, and then we have the booster box, which we pretty much expected this was going to be the art. He looks really creepy. Gideon looks really creepy, to be honest. Now, the more I see this artwork, he's really creeping me out. Then we got the this is the event deck. I don't know who this guy is, so we'll have to find out. I think he's new. And then they have the intro pack. So here we see that the only new one is this, if you look here, Drowner of Hope. But we saw the Tyrant, we saw the Hydra, we saw the Blood Lord, and we saw the Hero of Gomafada. So the only one here who's new, so to speak, is this Drowner of Hope, and I actually like him a lot. To be fair, all of these are pretty good, except I guess the Bloodlord is probably the worst of them, but they're all pretty good. I like the Drowner of Hope a lot. And yeah, that's pretty much the packaging. That's pretty much the spoilers. Not a crazy bunch of stuff today. I'm kind of hoping that we get some kind of awesome mythic thing tomorrow, but we'll see what comes. Regardless, let me know what you guys think about these spoilers and about what's going on with the set so far. What do you think? Put it down below in the comment section. If you enjoyed the video, then please tap the like button. If you're new to the channel, check in and subscribe, and stay tuned for all Battle for Zendikar spoilers coming your way. And as always, Roxabox90 signing out. I'll see you guys next time.